Have you ever looked at the rules of attraction and realized the math just doesn't work? Harvard didn't just ask this question. They launched a massive study involving 10,000 women. What they uncovered challenges every popular belief about what draws women to men. This data reveals a raw, often uncomfortable truth about desire, choice, and where real power sits in modern connections. This isn't theory. It's evidence. And once you understand it, your entire approach will change. If this resonates, let me know with a like. Now, let's break this down with clarity. The hidden force behind female attraction, exposed by a decade of Harvard research. Let's begin with a quiet frustration many men know. You follow the script. You're reliable, considerate, attentive. Yet, her interest just fades. It isn't random. It's a message. Harvard examined this very phenomenon on a huge scale. 10,000 participants, endless data points. The conclusions didn't just adjust old ideas. They broke them. This research connects directly to evolutionary drives and uncovers an instinctual pull operating beneath conscious awareness. It's less about romance and more about primal signals. And most men are missing them completely. What causes a woman to select one man and dismiss another? The study provided a clear, data-driven answer. Here's where it gets fascinating. The participants didn't always state their preferences, but their behaviors painted the full picture. Clear, repeating patterns emerged, subconscious reactions pointing to the same hidden triggers. These levers of attraction had little to do with conversation or looks, and everything to do with a man's inner stability, his composed energy, and the silent signals of his standing. Researchers began to label this process biological selection. Let's be direct. You are often evaluated not by her logical mind, but by her innate wiring. Her selection mechanism isn't checking for gifts. It's scanning for cues of leadership, for inner strength, for purposeful direction. Think on that. You believe being agreeable was the key. Yet true selection operates on a deeper channel. You either resonate with her instinctual pull, or you become invisible. The Harvard data confirm this without mercy. Picture a room. Two men enter. One is talking. The other is quiet. Yet he commands the atmosphere through his posture, his gaze, his calm demeanor. Which man do the women notice first? Without a word being spoken, it's not about volume. It's about inherent authority. That quiet signal which communicates, my value is not yours to give. The study found a single trait divided men who naturally sparked attraction from those stuck seeking validation. This leads us to a challenging realization. Building genuine confidence isn't optional. It's essential for survival in dating. Why? Because her response is tied not to your resources, your face, or your scripts, but to your behavioral blueprint. Are you easily shaken, unsure, looking for her endorsement? She may never say it, but her instincts detect it instantly. The men who saw consistent results weren't flawless. They possessed something uncommon. Self-command, especially when situations turn against them. Now, here's the pivot. Most of these men developed this trait. They built it step by step with intention. They did it by abandoning old, failed notions about women and adopting frameworks that mirror how female attraction truly functions today. That is the real revelation of this study. Not just an uncomfortable truth, but a guide, a path forward for men ready to move past uncertainty and into alignment with their own authentic strength. That is where transformation starts. You've likely sensed this paradox. The harder you work to win her over, the faster you lose. This isn't accidental. The research identified a specific reaction that occurs when men offer too much emotional investment too soon. It sparks what experts call a power shift. Why? Because it signals you prioritize her above your own mission, above your core worth. When that happens, her subconscious categorizes you as optional. Attraction fades not from failure, but from misplaced focus. One insight from the data was unmistakable. Women are not the confused ones. Men are. Women react to attraction triggers that are consistent. If you know what to observe, her intrigue doesn't increase when you message more, praise more, or demonstrate more concern. It increases when she senses something is limited, not needed. When she perceives that your self-worth isn't up for negotiation. That's where male psychology must grow from seeking approval to rooted self-assurance. The men who prompted the most intense responses weren't the loudest. They were steady, centered, and fully engaged. They weren't pursuing. They were selecting. That energy, that is what registered deeply. The study termed it nonverbal self-assertion, but we can call it a masculine core. It's a quiet power, not control over her, but command over your own realm, your space, your emotions, your path. This turned attraction from a mystery into a learnable pattern. Let's be plain. Most men are trained to be appealing in ways that ultimately don't matter. You're encouraged to be accommodating, transparent, and perpetually accessible. But evolutionary drives don't inherently reward that. The female brain remains wired to recognize markers of status, leadership, and resolve, not act, but authentic being. This explains why a man dedicated to a meaningful life often draws notice without effort. His existence becomes a magnet. The woman becomes an observer, not an objective. That shift alters everything. Need evidence? Consider Alex, 32, a skilled architect, intelligent, thoughtful, and consistently overlooked in dating. He followed the supposed rules, orchestrated perfect evenings, gave thoughtful presents, maintained constant contact. Nothing changed. Then he engaged a community focused on genuine male growth, and something aligned. He stopped overgiving, began setting limits, and showed up with clear boundaries. In a matter of weeks, women who previously seemed indifferent began initiating contact. Why? Because he had accidentally stepped into his own genuine power, and the entire dynamic reversed. Alex didn't alter his identity. He changed what he accepted. That's a foundational shift in self-command. He saw he was giving away his attention as if it had no value, and she responded in kind. The moment he redirected that energy inward, the atmosphere changed. People sensed it. Women sensed it. This wasn't a game. It was congruence. He stopped depleting his own value. And as he upheld his own standards, he left the need for validation behind for good. That's when genuine opportunities appeared. This is the crucial point. The men who succeed consistently don't memorize routines. They master their inner state. They grasp that female attraction doesn't answer the language. It answers to presence, to subtle friction, to the man who desires her but does not need her. That distinction is palpable. It's fundamental. And it generates a level of instinctual longing even she can't logically dissect. Harvard's work didn't just note this. It quantified it across countless real-world interactions. There's profound strength in a man who remains steady in silence, who doesn't hurry to fill quiet with noise. That presence creates a gravity most men never discover they possess. The study observed that the most compelling moments frequently occurred not in lively talk, but in the quiet spaces where a man's energy stayed rooted. That is a masculine core in action, and it reflects a depth of confidence that cannot be pretended. It's not about being boisterous. It's about being solid. Here's the crucial part. Most of what makes a man compelling has zero to do with her. It's the life he constructs independently, his routines, his aims, his mission. Harvard's analysis demonstrated women were reliably pulled toward men whose approach to dating didn't focus on pursuit, but on conscious choice. Men who weren't hoping to be selected, but were too occupied selecting their own direction. This creates a psychological difference that activates deep-seated desires rooted in our ancient biology. Now we reach the part that's tough to hear, but vital to know. If you continue to operate from a place of confusion, frustration, or constantly trying to demonstrate your value, you've already stepped off the field. Not because you lack worth, but because you're playing a game with rules you were never shown. That ends today. This entire explanation isn't to dazzle you. It's to equip you, so you cease wasting effort. So you stop being the pleasant man she enjoys but never deeply wants. A quick moment. If this is shifting your perspective, making you reconsider your own patterns, and finally giving words to feelings you've had but couldn't express, hit that like button now. Subscribe to this channel, Winds of Thought, so you don't miss what's ahead. Because this is just the beginning. Stay with me. Think of the men you know who are perpetually baffled when a promising connection cools. That instant when she becomes distant, replies slower, disengages. They analyze every text, every meeting. They wonder, where did I fail? The truth? It's rarely about actions. It's about the signals they emitted. Most men unintentionally project low status cues, subtle insecurity, and a lack of personal sovereignty. And she senses it on a gut level. Long before her mind explains it, she's already moving away. This is where authentic male growth changes everything. Instead of reacting to her distance, the man of substance adjusts his own internal guidance. He doesn't unravel. He doesn't plead. He realigns. Most men were never taught that women don't just react to what you offer. They respond to your foundation, your quiet, your demeanor, your limits. That's the masculine polarity she intuits but can't easily describe. It's also the one thing you cannot fabricate, but you can develop it steadily, daily, with determination. Let's be honest. Most guys were never shown how to build this. School didn't teach grounded confidence. Media told you to chase. Culture told you to perform. No one taught you how to stand firm when rejected or how to feel desire without losing your center. But now, through research like Harvard's, we can see the blueprint, the behavioral codes of men who attract naturally, without tactics. It starts by eliminating the one thing that undermines everything, self-betrayal. You betray yourself each time you quiet your standards to maintain her attention. Each time you agree when your instinct said no. Each time you ignore clear warnings because you fear being alone. That isn't emotional intelligence. It's a silent collapse of your core. And women feel it, not intellectually, but physically. It disrupts the very attraction triggers they are built to find compelling. Not because they are unkind, but because their biology demands consistency. Harvard's results became evident. Women are neurologically tuned to detect incongruence. It's not about being perfect. It's about being coherent. When your words and your energy disagree, when your presence feels shallow, when you seek her endorsement, you disrupt her instinctual pull. It feels wrong. And that's when she pulls back, even if she can't articulate why. But here's the turn. When you operate from emotional composure, when you act from a place of purpose, you reignite her curiosity. You cease being easily read. You start becoming compelling. Your stillness speaks louder than your explanations. A simple test you can apply soon. Next time a woman challenges you, shows mild disrespect, delays responses, or withdraws emotionally, don't react. Don't pursue. Simply observe. Maintain your calm. Let her feel your steadiness. That space holds the truth, not in your arguments, but in your quiet command, not over her, but over your own need for her. That's the most attractive signal you can ever send, and it demands no technique, only self-command. Here's a change you'll see quickly. Once you stop making her your central focus, you become centered yourself. And the moment that occurs, her behavior shifts. Not always to keep you, but to test if your new foundation is genuine. This is where men either falter or stand firm. The unsteady collapse back into chasing. The solid hold their frame. This is the moment when dating strategy transforms from a set of tricks into a matter of identity. Who are you when she steps away? Your answer tells her all she needs to know. Let's speak plainly. Most men only confront this after being ghosted by someone they believed was special. That's when fixation begins. They revisit the timeline, seek answers. But closure rarely comes because attraction isn't verbal. It's sensory. The Harvard study underscored this. When a man lacks inner clarity, his very energy becomes repelling. Women don't reject him out of spite. They reject the dissonance, the uncertainty, the invisible cues that conflict with natural selection patterns. And here's a perspective that changes everything. It's not about correcting her view. It's about correcting your own calibration. Her retreat is data. She is not your opponent. She is a reflection. She mirrors your internal condition, whether you recognize it or not. This is where male psychology must advance. Stop trying to interpret her mood and start interpreting your own energy. Are you living in alignment with your standards? Are you moving with clarity? Or are you lost in a haze of validation-seeking behavior? You'll know you're evolving when silence no longer unsettles you, when you stop glancing at your phone constantly, when her delayed reply doesn't spark anxiety. That calm, that is emotional control, and it stands as one of the clearest signs of built confidence. The Harvard research found women instinctively move toward men who carry this emotional stillness. Not the most vocal man present, but the one least disturbed by the outcome. It's power with restraint. And it's uncommon. That's what makes it magnetic. Let me pose this. What shifts when you stop viewing women as a finish line and start seeing them as a reflection of the man you're building? That changes everything. Suddenly, you stop chasing a feeling and start requiring a fit. You stop accepting crumbs and start expecting alignment. That isn't arrogance. It's personal sovereignty. The men who lead with that energy almost never chase. And you know what? They become the ones who are pursued because they embody the status cues or instincts recognized as trustworthy. This is where evolutionary science completes the loop. Women aren't consciously thinking, I want a man of status, emotional solidity, and purpose. But their biology is. It's perpetually scanning for security, for direction, for signs of lasting stability, even in brief encounters. That's why fleeting connections can still cause emotional ripple effects. Her system is always assessing. And when you arrive grounded in authentic masculine energy, she feels it before you speak. You become an anchor, not through speech, but through being. If you've ever questioned why some men attract with ease while others struggle endlessly, this is the reason. The former aren't chasing an outcome. They're cultivating a way of being that makes attraction a natural result. That's what Harvard's evidence showed. It wasn't about appearance or riches. It was about congruence, inner unity. Men who had nothing to prove, who weren't perfect but were complete. That's what creates primal desire. Not tactics, not manipulation, just unshakable self-regard expressed in every moment. So what is your next move? You cease striving to be liked. You begin constructing something worthy of respect. Elevate your daily habits. Refine your posture. Guard your time. Focus on mastery, not approval. Learn. Train. Seek out men who challenge your justifications. This isn't about becoming a seducer. It's about becoming a man with choices because he lives deliberately, because he refuses to tolerate weakness within himself. That is male development. And once it starts, it doesn't end. Every interaction with a woman is a test, not for her approval, but for your own awareness. Are you showing up aligned, or are you contorting yourself to hold her interest? That's the subtle line between a man who leads and a man who follows. Harvard's work didn't just reveal female behavior. It revealed male blind spots, the areas where men lose power. The call now is clear. Stop losing. Start leading. That's where true strategy begins. There is no secret, no instant hack to override millennia of biological programming. But there is a framework, and it starts with presence. Most men believe attraction is built through doing. It's not. It's built through being, through calm assurance, low reactivity, and clear direction. This doesn't require coldness. It requires wholeness. And when you are whole, you don't seek completion through her. You offer it. That completely reverses a dynamic. That is the power of a solid core. Quiet, consistent, undeniable. The reality is, no woman will ever explain this to you directly. Not because she's deceitful, but because it operates below the level of conscious thought. That's why data like this is critical. That's why insights grounded in evolution matter. They make the invisible plain, so you can stop speculating and start deciding. Every behavior you allow in yourself either strengthens attraction or weakens it. Every standard you uphold reinforces your self-command. She will sense it. And more importantly, you will feel it. Because once you stop chasing women, something else begins to chase you. Purpose, influence, understanding. That reorients your entire life. You stop revolving around her. She begins to revolve around a man who revolves around nothing but his own path. That isn't a method. It's maturity. And it's the one asset no one can ever take from you. Once earned, it's yours permanently. And if Harvard study taught us one thing, it's this. Attraction was never a mystery. You were simply never shown how to shape the signal. So now the question returns to you. Are you still playing by her unspoken rules? Or are you finally prepared to write your own? No more guessing. No more waiting for permission. The evidence is right here, and you've witnessed it yourself. Now it's about what you choose to do with it. What's one key misstep in attraction you know you've made? And what's the first commitment you're making to change it? Write this in comments. My focus is my power. Let that be your new starting line. If you've listened this far, sincerely, thank you. That speaks volumes about your mindset, and it shows you're not just here to watch. You're here to grow. So, do us both a favor. Hit that like button. Share this with a man who needs to hear it. Subscribe to Winds of Thought. And turn on notifications so you never miss another insight that puts you back in the driver's seat. Because this journey is just getting started.